Good morning, students. Welcome again to your computer lecture. I request all the students to kindly remove their computer workbook and a pencil. Today, we are going to learn a new topic. We will learn more about one of the input device called mouse. Now, I'm sure, students, we all know what a mouse is and how a mouse looks like. We all have been to the practical lab and we have used the mouse. Let us try to learn more about the mouse. I request all the students to kindly open their workbook to page number 25. I am sure we all are ready by now. So let us continue. Chapter number 4, more about the mouse. You have already learned about the mouse as an input device. The basic function of a mouse is to move the pointer on the monitor screen and let you interact with the computer. A mouse can be wired or wireless. A wired mouse is connected to the CPU with a wire. A wireless mouse is connected to the computer using Bluetooth. So here we have already learned about the mouse as an input device. In your previous standards, we have already discussed about this. The basic function of the mouse is to move the pointer on the screen and let you interact. So it basically the mouse controls the pointer on the screen, which is also known as the mouse pointer. And we see there are two types of mouse available. One is the wired mouse and the second one is the wireless mouse. A wired mouse, definitely it requires a wire to be connected. The wire is connected to the CPU. CPU stands for Central Processing Unit, right? And the wireless mouse is connected using a Bluetooth. I'm sure we all know what a Bluetooth is and how do we connect or pair devices using Bluetooth. Great. Now in the picture you see, students, in figure 4.1 you have an example of wired mouse, and in figure 4.2 we have wireless mouse. You see, next to the wireless mouse there is a small chip. I'll show it to you. See here. Now this is the chip which gets connected to the USB connector or the USB port, and this is the Bluetooth medium. Now a wireless mouse is connected. So let us learn more about the mouse and its various uses. A mouse consists of two buttons, left and right buttons. It also has a scroll wheel in between the two buttons. So the structure of the mouse, it consists of two buttons, left button and right button, and it also has a scroll wheel in between the two buttons. So let's learn about the parts of the mouse in detail. So before we could check the details, I want you all to take a look at this picture, students, for your easy understanding. You see, a mouse comprises of a left button, a right button, and a scroll wheel. So let us learn about these parts in detail. If students may prefer, you may want to draw this diagram in your notebook for your reference. It will be helpful. Let us continue. Let's learn more about the parts of the mouse in detail. So the first one is the left mouse button. Now what is left mouse button? What are its functions? Let's see. The left button is the most frequently used mouse button. It is used to perform various tasks such as selecting files, opening applications, viewing options, etc. Some of the common actions performed using the left mouse button are as follows. So a left mouse button is the most frequently used. Frequently is more often. You tend to use the left mouse button more often. Now why it is used? It is used to perform various tasks such as selecting a file, opening applications, viewing options. These are some of the common examples. So let's try to understand what are the roles or functions of the left mouse button. So the first one is the click. To access a particular file, folder or application, you need to select it first. Pressing the left button once allows you to select an icon on the computer screen. Right, now to open any application or any file or any folder, if you don't have a mouse, we make use of the keyboard. Now which are the cursor control keys on the keyboard? Great, the arrow keys. So if you don't have a mouse, we can use the arrow keys and press the enter key. However, that will be a bit difficult. So a mouse plays a very important role in helping us to select a file or any folder or any application. So with the help of mouse, we can perform all these actions. So if you press the left mouse button once, it allows you to select an icon on the computer screen. And you see on the picture towards your right, figure 4.3 shows the left mouse button. Let's take a closer look. You see the one which is highlighted in yellow? This is known as the left mouse button. So with the help of this mouse button, we can perform various tasks. Let's turn our page. To perform a click, press the left mouse button once with your right index finger. For example, you can select a particular file by clicking the file icon once. Once you have selected the file icon gets highlighted. So to perform a click, students, all we need to do is simply press the left mouse button once. That is also known as a left click. When you perform this action once and you leave the button, it's known as a click, like a single click. Let's say for example on your desktop screen you see different icons like my computer, then recycle bin, then Google Chrome, Internet Explorer and various other icons which you may have seen on a computer desktop. So you just have to press that icon once and the icon gets selected or highlighted. And there's a note written here. Left click is also used to select a hyperlink, which is a text modified to open a web page. Once you activate it, you can open a hyperlink simply by clicking the left mouse button on that hyperlink. Now this note tells us about the hyperlink. Now rest assured students, what is hyperlink and how it is used, we will learn this in your higher standards. However, just for your knowledge of your understanding, an hyperlink is nothing but it's a link which takes you to the internet web page. Now how that happens, we will learn this in your higher standards. However, to open or to click on a hyperlink, we use the left mouse button. So this is a single click or just a click. Let's understand what is double click. To access or view the contents of a particular file, you need to open it. To open a file, move the mouse pointer over its icon and press the left button twice and quickly. A double click allows you to open a file or application so that you can access the contents inside it. Now double click, it is doing nothing but it is helping you to view the contents of a particular file. अब हमने आइकन सेलेक्ट तो कर लिए, अब उसको ओपन कैसे करना है? वी नीड टू डबल क्लिक. As soon as you perform double click, the application opens or the file opens, and then we can see the contents of that particular file or a particular folder. How we do a double click? We press the left mouse button twice and quickly. It should be spontaneous, it should be fast. And that's how a double click allows you to open a file or application. Now, the alternative for double click is the enter key, which is known as the command key, students. Enter key is also known as the command key. Let's say you are finding difficulty in performing double click. As students, you are not used to performing double clicks. So till the time you become expert, you can use the enter key as well. You can use the left mouse button once to highlight it or to select the icon, and once you press the enter key, the application opens. However, once you become used to, you can simply press the left mouse button twice and quickly, so that the application or the file or the folder opens. We will do this in our practical lab. You already have done this, students. It's just a refresher that we are doing, and we are understanding what are those terms and terminologies in computer called as. So remember, once we have our practical sessions again as usual, we will do our practicals. That is the time we will remember this. Now students, those who have computers at home, you can practice that and you can see how a double click and single click and all the other functions work. Students, those who don't have PC, it's okay, don't worry. We will do this once we start our practical sessions. Now let's see the third option. It's known as drag and drop. Now what is drag and drop? Drag, come on students, what do you mean by drag? Like to pull something, or if we say in Hindi, घसीटना जिसको हम कहते हैं. And drop is to just place it somewhere, to drop it somewhere. So let's see what is drag and drop. Sometimes you may need to move an item from one location on the computer to another. The drag and drop action can be used to copy a file from one location to another. So what is drag and drop? It is telling us if you want to move an item from one location on the computer to another, the drag and drop action can be used to copy a file from one location to another. Now, to help you understand this, students, in a better way, I would like to share an example of one of the famous movie, Koi Mil Gaya. I'm sure you remember this movie. Students may have watched this. In that movie, you see there is a teacher that asks Ritik about this feature, how you can move a file from one particular location to another location without opening that file or folder. So this is the feature which Ritik Roshan explains. This is drag and drop. All you need to do is, let's see how you perform this action. To perform the drag and drop action, click an icon and hold the left mouse button. Move the mouse across the screen without leaving the mouse button. Once at the required location, release the button. So how do we perform this drag and drop action, students? We click an icon and hold the left mouse button. Now, if you click and release the mouse button, it will turn out to be a click. Now to perform drag and drop, you have to press the left mouse button and you have to hold it. You don't have to release, you have to hold it. Now, holding the left mouse button, you need to move the mouse across the screen and take it to the desired folder or location where you want to place the file. Once you are at that required location, you simply release the button. The drag and drop functionality is shown in the figure 4.5. Here, an icon is dragged from one folder and dropped into another folder. This creates a duplicate copy of the file in the new folder. So, we have an example shown below performing the drag and drop. See here. Now, in this picture, as you can see, this file has been moved to this particular location. Now students, if you see, it may not be clear in the video, however, if you take a look on your workbook, see the locations here. These are two different locations. So we are moving file from one PC or one location to another location. And how we are doing this? By using the left mouse button. We first click on that particular file, and without releasing the left mouse button, we drag the file and place it in the new location. Now by doing this, it creates a duplicate copy. Now the other way of moving a file from one location to the other location is using the copy and paste, which again you will learn in your higher standards in detail about how we can copy and paste a particular file. Let us see what the fourth option is. Click and drag. Now here it says click and drag. The fourth option is click and drag. Let's understand what is click and drag. The click and drag action allows you to select text with multiple characters at once. So click and drag is helping us to select multiple characters at once. Now in drag and drop option, students, we are moving file from one location to the other, like file, location or folders. We are moving them from one location to the other, and in click and drag we are selecting multiple characters at once. To perform the click and drag action, click and hold the left mouse button. Move the mouse to the required character and release the button. You can select the text by clicking and holding the left mouse button and dragging it. The click and drag functionality is shown in the figure 4.6. Here the text, the second most popular sport, is selected using the click and drag method. So click and drag, students, is helping us to select multiple characters or multiple text at a time. If you see in the picture, we have the statement, two sentences written: football, the most popular sport in the world; cricket, the second most popular sport, primarily played among the Commonwealth countries. This is the entire statement or the text. We have selected the second most popular sport. Now, bring our mouse pointer to the starting of the letter the word the, and we click and then we drag the mouse till the place where we want the text to be selected. Here we have selected till the second most popular sport. So this is the click and drag functionality, students. So remember, drag and drop helps us to move a particular file or a folder from one location to the other location, and click and drag helps us to select text with multiple characters at the same time. Here we have a note as well. As the left button is the primary mouse button, it is mostly used to perform various common operations in video games such as moving the character or shooting, etc. So here pay attention, the left button is the primary mouse button. So remember this, students, the left mouse button is the primary mouse button and it is most commonly used. It is used to perform various actions. So depending on this facility or this feature, in most of the games that we play on the computer, we use the left mouse button to control most of the features, like the moving characters, then the shooting part, or any other game that you see, the arena games or the thriller games or adventure games. In all these games, the left mouse button acts as a primary mouse button. So we saw 4 functions of the left mouse button. The first is this click, which is also known as the single click. Then we saw the double click. Then we have drag and drop. And the fourth option or the fourth feature is the click and drag. Now let us understand the right mouse button. What is the right mouse button used for? Or what does it contain? Let us read. Right mouse button. The right mouse button is used to view a list of options related to a selected item. This list of options is known as the context menu. It is available for a file, folder, or other icons. So the right mouse button is used to view the options related to a particular file, icon, application, in regards of what we select. Now as soon as you press or as soon as you use your mouse and you hover a mouse on a particular icon, जैसे ही हम अपना माउस पॉइंटर को किसी आइकन पे लेके जाते हैं और राइट क्लिक करते हैं, so we get that options displayed. We see the list of options or the menu options gets displayed related to that particular file or a folder or any other icon. Now these options are also known as context menu. I'm sure, students, we all have been to a restaurant, right? As soon as we enter the restaurant, we take a table and then we get a glass of water, and later on the waiter or the steward gives us the menu. Similarly, if we want to check any specific menu or what are the options of that particular file or a particular folder or a particular icon, we simply select or highlight that icon and do a right click. As soon as you do a right click, you see on to your right we have the picture. Let's see here. First, we will look at what the right mouse button is. The one which is highlighted in yellow is the right mouse button. As soon as you press that button, students, you get the list of options like these. As you can see, view, sort by, group by, refresh, paste, undo, properties, new. So these are all known as the context menu. So remember, right click or the right mouse button gives us the list of menu items, which is also known as the context menu. Let's read and understand. The following are different examples of using the right mouse button. Let's see what are the different examples. You can right click on a desktop to change its display settings, background, etc. Right, one of the example, we have already tried this during our practical sessions. If not, we will continue again. We will perform these actions again as soon as we have a practical sessions. We can change the display settings, we can change the wallpaper through the right mouse button. The second example is you can right click on files and folders to perform various actions such as to rename, view properties, or open a file using different application. Right, in this example, like I told you, I showed you in the earlier example, see this, as soon as you click on a particular file or a folder, you may see list of various options. Now these options which you see, students, it is all dependent on the type of file, folder, the application or the icon. Again, to relate, you go to a veg restaurant or veg hotel, you will find the menu for all the vegetarians, all the vegetarian items you will see. If you go to a Chinese corner, you will see all the Chinese items displayed. If you go to a mixed restaurant which serves both, you will see the list of all the options like veg, non-veg, Chinese, etc. Depending upon the restaurant, you have the menu. Similarly, depending upon the application, file or folder, you get the list of options. The third one, you can also use the right button to create different types of files and folders. Right, we can create multiple copies of the same file, we can rename the file, we can create different types of files and folders. Right, we can name a particular file with the number of names that we want. We can save that file to the number of times that we want by giving different names. And this is possible with the help of the right mouse button. So here we have three examples. The first one is to change the settings of the desktop. Then the third is to view or see the various options available for a different file, folder or any application. And the third one is to create multiple copies of a file or a folder. Let's see what the note says. Right button is the secondary mouse button and it can be used to perform secondary operations in video games such as switching between weapon, firing the secondary gun, etc. So again, from the gaming perspective, it is telling us that right mouse button is the secondary mouse button, and with the help of that we can perform actions like changing the weapons, firing the secondary gun, etc. Now these examples we can relate to one of the ongoing video games or the common games that we play, PUBG. I'm sure most of the students may not be playing it, most of the students may not be aware of this game. But looking at the common trend, students, we all know how a PUBG game looks like, right? We use both our fingers, right, on a cell phone to be specific. On a cell phone also we have the right side and the left side. We control most of the features using a left side and then right side. Similarly, if you're playing this game on a computer, like computer games, we can talk about Counter-Strike, Max Payne and so on and so forth, Battlefield. These are few examples. So if you play such games, you can, with the help of the left and mouse button, you can control all the features. So the left mouse button is the primary, the right mouse button is the secondary. Let us continue. Turn our page. Now you remember in the start we saw three parts: left mouse button, right mouse button and the scroll wheel. So the one which is highlighted in the center, you see, is a small wheel or the, take a look here. This is the scroll wheel. So what is the scroll wheel? Let's read. The scroll wheel is in between the left and right mouse buttons. It is used to move the content in a window up or down. So what is the scroll wheel helping us to do, students? It is helping us to move the contents in a window up or down. And where it is placed, it's in the center of, or it's in between the left and right mouse button. So the scroll wheel is in between the left and right mouse button. It is used to move the content in a window up or down. You can scroll down a page by dragging the wheel backwards or towards yourself, and up by dragging it forward or away from yourself. Again, during our practical sessions, we have tried this. Just understand that the action that we do is known as scrolling, and we perform the scrolling action with the help of the scroll wheel. So what is scroll wheel helping us to do? It is helping us to move up or down on a particular page or on a window. So these are the options or the features of a mouse that helps us to perform various tasks and operations when we are using our computers. To simplify this topic, students, to help you understand in a much better way in the pictorial format, I have made a diagram, a flow chart, to help you understand the mouse in detail. So if you go to see, this is mouse divided into three parts: left button or left click, then we have the scroll wheel in center, and then we have the right button or the right click. The left button gives us four options: single click, double click, drag and drop, click and drag. The right mouse button, it is a list of options related to the selected item, also known as context menu. And the scroll wheel, it helps us to move up and down on a page or a window. So if you need, you can make this flowchart in your computer notebook. It will be easier and helpful for you to know more about the mouse. Alright students, so now we have a practice time. Let's complete our practice time. So the first one is the dash action can also be used to copy a file from one location to another. Come on students, which option or which action? Right, the drag and drop. The drag and drop action can also be used to copy a file from one location to another. Now the second one, you can dash on the desktop to change its display settings, background, etc. Come on, we just saw with the help of which click or which button? Great, with the help of right click. So you can right click on the desktop to change its display settings, background, etc. Right, this is how you will complete your practice time. Fill in the blanks. And then we have our exercise. I will send you the notes once I upload the lecture, once we complete a lecture, students. I request all the students to kindly complete their notes. Right, this is how the notes will look like. Write them in your neat and clean handwriting. So with this, students, we complete our chapter more about mouse, and the diagram that I have drawn, students, it's the summary or the overview of what we just learned in this chapter more about the mouse. So try to remember this diagram. You will remember the entire chapter. Until our next lecture, students, I thank you all for your time. Thank you for listening. Stay safe, stay healthy. Have a nice day, students. Thank you once again.